I'm running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music and I stay here for the night. I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. No blind, out of sight and out of mind. No when you keep running, but your legs are standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free.
Good evening everybody and welcome to the latest Elite FPL Saturday night reaction with myself, Stevo and Ray. We are going to be going through obviously everything that's happened today, which has just been an incredible, extraordinary Saturday afternoon / early evening where I can actually for once feel justified in my FPL picks. I feel that I've finally been rewarded at last. I actually, what is it that Mr. Burns says? For the first time in my life, I'm actually happy. It is literally been one of those days where no one can hear you, Ray, so just, like we just said a second ago, because I'll be taking the piss out of you in a minute, so just breathe, no one can hear you for a second. I'm actually happy. You may not think and look at my face, but I'm actually happy. Everything seems to have gone according to plan so far. And tonight I'll be doing my -4, getting it out the way. So it'll be Pedro out for Haaland, Salah out for Dibbling, and Trent Alexander out for Saliba. We're going to get that into that in a minute. But let's say hello to the man that was what were you just doing then, Ray? An impression of Training Ground? Do you want to just give that to our audience again?
No, while you were doing the whole Burns bit, I basically said, "Release the hounds, release the hounds."
What was the training day bit though? Come on, you were going mental over the whole talking of hounds, going like a wolf.
Yeah. You ain't paid me enough to do that, so I ain't gonna do it.
Just absolutely mental. I'll just quickly say hello to a few people that are in the chat at the moment. Good afternoon. I know Alf's here. Alf just sent me, I'd literally just seen it, a very kind message regarding his stream. And look, at the end of the day, what did someone say to me once, which I think it was Jason actually, but he just said, look, at the end of the day, YouTube's a very, 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 very large platform, and it doesn't matter who's streaming right now. At the end of the day, you know, do what you love, basically. But Alf, I believe, is going to be going live. Let us know in the chat, even though I'm not going to read it. But let us know in the chat if you are going to be going live at 9 PM, because I absolutely loved. If you haven't subscribed to Alf PL, it's there. It's Alf PL on his channel, and he does a Saturday night therapy session. And I actually, in fact, this time last week, I was in the car listening in, and as I approached Readingish / Slough area, when he said, "Oh, it looks like I'm going to have to turn off," I think, "Oh, please don't, just stay on for another half an hour." I always say, as me and Ray always discuss, that it's always a testament to someone's audio, whether it's podcasting, voice messaging, that when the message ends and you're like, "Oh, I could have listened to another 20 minutes or whatever." It's the same with this 9/11 podcast that I was listening to the other day. It was 3 hours long. And I'm like, I could listen for another 3 hours. It was just absolutely fascinating. But we're not here to talk about 9/11. We're here to talk about the people that have joined us for the first only few minutes. Animations, hello. Han. I think Han's here because he's had a very good day captaining Palmer. I think a lot of people who have captain Palmer, which is probably only this person. I mean, could it be a woman? Could it be a man? I don't know. Hannah. But yes, Palmer captainers, show your faces. I'm sure they will do. They're all going to be cheering from the rooftops. Gravy Dave is here. Leland Edward, Dan. Someone called just Dan is here. FPL Sparta. Someone called Zeit Ghoul is here. Matt Smith. Taste of Chaos 182. By the way, if you are brand new around here, make sure you are subscribing. Make sure you are hitting the like button. It does help a lot. Animations, good evening. FPL Roberto is here. I'm waiting for the message, Roberto. Roberto, I don't know if you saw the stream the other day, but when I listened into, oh yeah, you did watch the stream. When I listened into your stream your podcast, the other day, and those questions, they make my questions look easy. Matthew Zaishi, good afternoon. Seba, good afternoon. Juggernauts, wow. Well, what a surprise. Surprise, surprise. As Jason always says, they always come out of the woodwork when they've had a good game week, Ray. Every single time people have a good week in FPL, they always come out of the blue, basically. I'm just going to put my team up on screen because people are tuning in going, "Oh, I just want to look at the screen." So that is the team there. In full, it is Flecken in goal with 2 points. Kanate, extraordinary, coming through with a goal. 7 points, Trent Alexander 1, Lewis with 2, and Burma with 7, Palmer with 22, Salah captain 14, Saka with 2. I thought he had an assist, Ray. What's going on?
No assist, but didn't he get max bonus points? Did I read that right? He didn't get.
This is just live information to me, so let's have a look. I thought he had an assist.
Joint. No, he got joint bonus points. Top bonus points with Martinelli.
How?
But no return.
How's this happen?
I think it was something like he created 8 clear-cut chances and 8 successful one-on-ones or something like that. So I think they just gave it to him through pure activity rather than him actually returning. He was actually brilliant on the day. But okay. he was unlucky not to get a return.
Okay, we'll get onto that in a minute. So Saka with 2, and Calvert-Lewin with 1. I saw he got a yellow card, and I've just seen the highlights. Putting Decore through. Of course, Decore mucks up, even though the commentary said it was probably going to be offside. I'm assuming, I haven't seen the bonus points yet. We'll go through that in a minute, but Palmer's going to get 3, and Burmo 2 minimum. Salah 2 minimum. And yeah, 58 points total so far. And it has been... Today, Ray, has been absolutely mental from my point of view, in the sense of none of the popular picks, meaning that the likes of Haaland and Eze and Nottingham Forest defence and Arsenal defence have done anything. And even Saka, to an extent, has done anything. And it's kind of really worked out in my favour, Ray.
Yes, absolutely. I always looked at the Man City game. I mean, we spoke about it, and I said, I'd captain Saka when I was sending you audios. But in regards to Arsenal, I mean, on Super Brew, I predicted 3-1 to us. I thought we'd concede because lesser create opportunities. And at home, we're nowhere near as strong defensively. So, but yeah, I mean, when Palmer was banging all those goals, I was thinking about you straight away. I mean, if I can ask, what's your current live rank after this phenomenal day for you?
I don't know. Is this? Although, well, I say that on the actual game, I've moved up to 600k.
Okay.
So the game clearly is updating really, really quickly regarding ranks. I'm up to 691,323. I'll just say 600k just to make it easy. It's more like 700k. And the truth of the matter is, Ray, is that I've still got a minimum of, 4 bonus points? If I just quickly go through it. So Liverpool, it will be Salah with... Salah with 3. He's going to get 3. So that's 6 points coming through. Then I'm Burmo.
Right now, if that's okay, Steve-O. You are currently 450,730th in the world.
Right, so that's with the live score, and I've still got Watkins and Rodgers to play. And
that's right.
It's a game tomorrow in which I'm expecting it's quite tight. I do expect Ipswich to eventually fold and Aston Villa to come through. Obviously, we've got the other 2 games in Man United and Tottenham. Man United assets, well, Jason seems to be the only player on the planet that owns Man United assets. I am expecting Rashford to probably come through, knowing Jason's luck. Spurs, they've got Son potentially out, So there's a popular asset that may not play, but then you've got Solanke. And then, of course, on Monday evening, I am going to be putting 50... Oh, that's a point. Actually, that's another thing. Because one of the funniest things that Alf does is take the piss out of these losers on FPL X. See, I'm not afraid to say anything, Alf, to be honest with you. I've got nothing to hide. And I love the fact that Alf just takes the mick out of these idiots that are concerned about people being sponsored by X, Y, and Z. That is great. I promote gambling. And I've had a really good day on gambling as well, Ray. Really good. I'm going to now quickly check exactly how much. I don't think I made profit today, but I know for a fact that certain bets definitely came through. I was gutted on my treble, which was Man City, Arsenal and Chelsea to come through. But overall, quite a few of my bets actually made it in today. And I can tell you right now that the answer is I am 74p down, Ray. So a whopping 74p down. So I started at a tenner, and I'm now at... I didn't spend £10, I spent £6 something, and it ended up with me being 74p down. But one of my favourite bets was just a single 50p on both teams to score in Liverpool versus Wolves. Another single bet on both teams to score, no, for Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. And McNeil to score or assist anytime. I also had Havertz to score or assist anytime. I also always do. Very good. Haaland to score and Man City to win. I always put that bet down. And I'm just very, very happy it didn't come through today. So let's just crack on with... In fact, Roberto's saying something quite... I don't know what the wording is, but evening all... I've had a depressing wildcard, but for once I'm actually able to laugh it off and just enjoy the streams like this and the great FPL community when in the past I would be struggling. This is the first season, Ray, I've got to say, where I think I was going to entitle this stream Patience Finally Pays Off. Yeah. But I do think that this is the first time this year where there are just too many options, as was demonstrated by Nima when he came on, was a brilliant guest for us on Thursday, and he was having problems with his wildcard options, and certainly Roberto would have been in the same boat. I know for a fact there are many other people out there that would have been on wildcard with the same dilemmas, and none of them, Ray, would have predicted what would have happened today.
Yeah, quite right. I mean, I saw the comment as well from Roberto, and yeah, I agree. It's quite funny not playing the game now and being able to see all this from kind of like a bird's eye view as well. Is, you know, a family member asked me to, look, could you build me a wild card? I just want to compare it between mine and yours. And when I was trying to build it, I was like, oh my goodness, there's actually so many players you can pick, you know, from so many different teams. And the one I kind of picked didn't have Watkins. And I'm like, oh my word, well, Watkins could bang. Palmer could bang, for example. What about Salah, for example, you know? And there's just such a myriad of different options that you can go for now. And I think I said to you a few weeks ago that with any wildcard you build, I don't think you're wrong, you know, because there's so many great options this season. And hence, you know, if I'm going to give you your flowers here for a moment, like, you know, when the game week started, you were just outside 2 million. With the post subs that's going to come through tonight, you're 466.9k and just over 300k game week rank. Phenomenal. But that's what I mean, is that we disagreed on the wildcard. I gave you a wildcard I'd build. You gave me a wildcard as well. And I said, well, I'd go for Salah and Haaland because of XXX. And then you said, not, you know, without Haaland for YYY. But there you go. It just shows that your team was always great. I always appreciated what your team was, minus Calvert-Lewin. But, you know, I just think, you know, if you hit it right as you have, like the Palmer return's brilliant, Salah captain, great score, is that, you know, you could still prosper. I think just the thing that I have been saying consistently throughout the weeks that when we do the streams is, you know, stick to your plans with your wild card, you know, because I don't think you can go wrong. You did that. You didn't knee jerk. You made one change, which I thought was great. De Bruyne to Saka. I think I even sent you an audio. De Bruyne to Saka, that's fine. Then in game week 7, take your hit to bring in Haaland, because I always advocate a hit if you're going to captain the player. I always feel like that's a decent shout, and I'm pretty sure that's what you're going to do when they play Fulham. But yeah, absolutely. And Roberto, I think that's the right thing to do. You know, laugh it off for now, but you've planned well. I'm pretty sure. You know, you're a good manager, and then, you know, going forward you will enjoy the fruits of your labor. But just be patient, because I do feel like you said, FPL has become more patient driven now rather than being knee jerk.
You have to, because you as a Telegraph player / me as an ex-Sky player, what, you played one season, Steve? That makes you an ex, yeah. But in all seriousness, you have to be patient in fantasy football. And for me, the one thing that annoys me so much about me is, and Bilal makes this point a billion times, I just wish, I'll never forget this comment he put on a members video. He said, I just wish Steve-O stuck to his thought process or his strategy, because actually he would be this. Instead, he's knee-jerking so much that he's now at this spot instead, way below. And I've said all along that I want to be kind of looking at fixtures, Ray, and targeting players which are the key performers or key men for their particular teams. And for me, I'm glad I'm jumping off Liverpool. I think their schedule over the next, I'm talking including the Champions League as well, is horrendous. It is. It's terrible. Me watching the last 25 minutes of that Liverpool match, but listening to Mark Goldbridge kind of talking through it on his stream, I'm just like, I wish I had Haaland. I wish I had Haaland over the last few weeks rather than Salah. Because that man, as talented as he is, as much of a world-class player he is, I look at him and I go, I don't think you're going to do anything. If anything, I'm more worried about Diaz, Ray. as I stated to Jason at the start of this season and then moving forward into game weeks 1 to wherever, I said Salah is the creator for Diaz and Jota and if Núñez ever plays. And I kind of feel like I'm being proven right. Now, yeah, I know he scored a penalty today, but he did not look threatening whatsoever. There was a moment where he could have put, or he should have put, I think it was Gakpo through and he scuffed the pass. And I was just like, it's just typical. Every time I seem to captain someone and I watch them, they seem to just fail every single time. And it really gets on my fucking nerves, to be honest with you. Whereas if Jason had captained him, the pass would be absolutely pinpoint and Gakpo would run through and score and there's Salah with a double-digit haul, or whatever it is. Whereas me not owning Haaland, that's what I fear the most. I mean, I've got up on screen, Ray, the transfers that I'll be doing so people can see it's Pedro out for Haaland, Salah out for Dibbling, Saliba in for Trent, and then I'll have a 3-4-3 with the midfield four of Saka, Rodgers and Burmo, Palmer, and then a front three of Watkins, Haaland and Calvert-Lewin. And moving forward with the fixture list as it is, owning Haaland is pretty much a must. He's a triple captaincy option against Southampton in game week 9. That's just a simple fact. And I feel more like, because we go back to Roberto's point of view, or point where he's saying, I feel dejected after my wild card, but do you know what? You just got to laugh. And it's, for me, it's, you can't have every single player on the list that is on the game. You can only have 15 and play 11. It's a simple fact. And you've got to choose the players that you feel are the best 11. Now, for your point of view, Ray, in your Telegraph game, I'm assuming you've pretty much got the key players from each team that you feel moving forward are the best. If you want to just tell us who your team is.
Yeah,
the
sure,
Telegraph.
Absolutely. And yeah. So I've got Henderson, Murillo, Trent, Robinson, Eze, Saka, Smith Rowe, Palmer, Haaland, Salah, and Semenyo. And you're quite right. I mean, I'm second in my major mini league. Nima's top, hilariously.
All right.
Catch one that I bought him in this season. There's about 20 of us, quite a lot of money on the line. And yeah, it's a fantasy game, but as you rightly said, it's completely different. It's just 11 players. I've just used 3 transfers out of 40. So I'm very happy where I am. I'm in 2000th in the game right now. So, but
could you give what 2000 is out of how many is it? 70,000.
Yeah,
that's very good.
65,000. Because I directly communicated with the TFF account and they told me, yeah, it's 65,000, but probably go higher. But from what you were saying as well is, what happened today was a bit of an anomaly because Palmer, a player who wasn't really bought in a lot in wildcards, got 4 goals. If he hadn't got 4 goals and maybe just 1 or 2 goals, wildcarders would probably still have a half decent game week. So, you've got to put aside sometimes those anomalies. And I just saw Jason Jablonski saying here, Trent and Diaz to Poro Palmer for -4. I'll say no. That I think -4 is more relevant for something else. And that's where the knee-jerk aspect is something you can't do in Telegraph. And I know there are a few viewers who are playing Telegraph as well, is that, you have to have that patience element. You just must. And it's brilliant for me because by nature, I am actually quite patient, but FPL does something to you when, we spoke about it with multiple Patreon episodes. Cheap plug, join the Patreon, Elite FPL, fully worth it. But with FPL, where it's kind of like, you have unlimited transfers, really. Let's be honest, you take a -4, -8, and then suddenly you're just absolutely, kind of addicted to making those moves. But the funny thing you said about Salah, because I had to kind of click as well, is he's creating a lot of opportunities. I agree with you. And he is taking a lot more of that creative route. He's still got 4 goals and 4 assists in 6 Premier League games. So he's still getting the returns, even though I agree with you. The only game where he was just absolutely lights out magnificent was against Manchester United. But that's probably because Man United are the only team that have really tried to, in essence, stick it to Liverpool, if that makes sense. So if they play more offensive teams, I actually think Salah is a more dangerous player because he's going to have more of that space.
Yeah, just to reiterate, so this Jason may be saying, well, why is it that the guy up there, Steve-O, he's contemplating a -4 and he's going to get rid of Salah and Trent? Well, because I'm bringing in Haaland, and I've been planning this for I've said it since I did the Wildcard in Game Week 4. I'm going to be doing this for Game Week 7. I'll be bringing in an Arsenal, a must-have. I'm 0.1 short of Gabriel. I really want Gabriel. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't want Gabriel. I can't get him unless I was to downgrade Dibbling to a 4.4, which I'm not really willing to do. And also, I have to do it today because unfortunately tonight it's looking like potentially Salah could be going down in price. Dibbling's going to go up in price. Haaland's going to go up in price over the next day or two. I can't wait, basically. So I have to do it pretty much as this stream ends, basically. And it means then that I've got double up of Arsenal, even though I want triple up, but I can't do it at the moment. So double up of Arsenal. I've still got that Liverpool coverage like Ray was offering me in the wildcard. You've still got that Liverpool. I mean, how ironic's that, Ray? Is that fast forward 3 weeks, Kanate was your go-to pick ahead of Trent, and I said, nope, I want Trent, and yet Kanate scored 2 goals in that time.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's the ones you really enjoy as well, isn't it? Because that's from any fantasy aspect. Like, Robinson got me a clean sheet today, and he's 2.7 mil in the game. That's the equivalent of 4.5 in FPL. If we try and compare, apples to apples. So you really enjoy those cheap gems that get you the points, isn't it? More and I think Konate and again with Konate, you don't mind benching him, isn't it? That's a big thing to think about as well. It's like, okay, they're away to Arsenal, cool, I'll bench him. If you had Trent, you'd feel inclined to always start him, isn't it? No matter who he's playing. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I concur. And again, on your point of planning as well, is quite right. I mean, we've had multiple discussions, obviously doing your wildcard as well. You are doing as what you said you were going to do. You haven't deviated from your initial plan, which you've spent lots and lots of time of thinking about how to do it. There's no need to knee jerk now. The one concern is, okay, now I don't have a Liverpool attacker, but like you rightly said, you can't have everyone in this game, isn't it? So, yeah.
I don't really want to... Oh, no, I can bring it up. What am I on about? I don't... Because he's not going to cock it up. So, I know it will cock it up. So basically, when it comes to Liverpool, I don't want to keep banging on about it, but their fixture list is just atrocious. To be completely honest with you, it is, in my opinion, a case of just they'll be trying to just get through games and rotation. Even though Salah isn't a rotation risk, Trent isn't a rotation risk, nor is Diaz. To be completely honest, I reiterate: Bologna, Crystal Palace, international break, Chelsea, which again Salah was probably going to turn up for that, but even though Chelsea, barring their 2 ridiculous mistakes today, are very good defensively, RP Leipzig, Arsenal, Brighton again because that's the cup, and then it's Bayer Leverkusen against their former hero, and then it's Aston Villa, Southampton, Real Madrid, Man City, Newcastle. Those fixtures are between next week, which is the 2nd of October, up to the 4th of December. Whereas you look at Man City's fixture run, who again, we know that the Terminator is not going to be dropped at all. But we know that what Haaland can do. You've got Bratislava, where Haaland's going to get 5 goals. Then they've got Wolves away. Then it's Fulham at home. Then it's the international break. Then it's Wolves away, who were absolutely abysmal by all accounts. Sparta Prague, Southampton, triple captain Haaland. Tottenham away, well, we know that game is just going to be end to end. Sporting CP, Brighton away, Tottenham.
Oh, Bournemouth! You missed that Bournemouth.
Bournemouth as well, yeah. So I am personally backing the 2 teams in Arsenal and Man City without wildcarding, who are going to be the title challengers, along with Liverpool. But I just back the fact that Arsenal and Man City can cope better with their fixture run than Liverpool, in my opinion. Can I be wrong? Yes. But the fact that Chelsea have allowed Cole Palmer to not be part of the European squad, and he's going to be rested in the cup competitions as well, tells me that I am very, very confident moving forward with this team in front of people right now. And it means that I've got Haaland next week to who is, let's get real here, the best captaincy option in game week 7. It then means that I've got him for Southampton. It means then that I won't have to spend 15.4 million on him. And I've got the Arsenal defender as well. Yes, of all the 5 defenders that you can choose from, he's probably the worst one. But like you said, I mean, Ray, you were the one that said to me, just stick with Saliba rather than Timber because...
Yeah, rotation. Timber is not, he's absolutely not nailed in that lineup, which is brilliant as an Arsenal fan. So Saliba, Gabriel, Raya, those are your defenders you go for. That's it.
And
I can't even advocate Declan White. I can't even advocate Ben White.
Well, at the moment, he's nursing an injury / he's being monitored and he's been given the time to maybe recover for the PSG game and whatnot. So I'm assuming he's going to play against PSG.
Yeah, that's my predicted lineup. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy with Saliba. Annoyingly, he's probably going to go. Ironically, he's probably going to go down by 0.1. You couldn't make it up, Ray. But whatever, I have to take that on the chin. But overall, I mean, even with Dibbling, I mean, it's a risk. But by all accounts, he's been performing very, very, very well for Southampton, and he's going to be going up in price. So I'm going to slowly catch the price rises on these particular individuals. I mean, I was just looking at Nima's team, funny enough, and he, of course, is an individual who came on the show the other day. He was tossing and turning about his wildcard. He was wondering, which player should I get in? Should it be this? Should it be that? And actually, it turned out that he just went with exactly the same team as what he proposed he was going to do, which was the 3-man attack of Arsenal in Saka, Havertz and Gabriel, which, again, he's stuck with it. He's going to be like Roberto, where he's going to be a bit gutted with his points of 28, where Haaland has blanked. But no one in their right mind, when it comes to certain things that happen in a game week, i.e. Cole Palmer scoring 4 goals and could have even got a 5th, if not assisted Jackson, who unfortunately didn't put the ball in the back of the net. This wildcard team is excellent. Flecken in goal, Trent, Gabriel, Lewis, Saka, Diaz, Semenyo and Burmo, Havertz, Haaland, Calvert-Lewin. There's nothing wrong with this team. It's brilliant. It's just this week, unfortunately for Nima, Arsenal decide to concede 2 goals. One of them was an absolute... that Justin's second goal is just incredible. I could watch that all day. Havertz scores some bizarre, random 99th minute off the stomach into the back of the net. And Saka doesn't get anything today other than 3 bonus points. You couldn't make it up, Ray. And people like Nima, who, they've got 28 points, but you look at the players that you've got and look who you've got left. You've still got Semenyo, who probably will get an attack in return against Southampton, if not a double-digit haul. You just got to get through this week where it's just been a complete anomaly, which is true. Haaland blanking is a complete anomaly against a crap Newcastle team, even though it was an early fixture, but I still think that Man City should be beating them comfortably 2 or 3-1. Calvert-Lewin not getting anything from 2 goals. Very unfortunate. He's got Burmo, who's got some great fixtures and is the key man for everything Brentford do. He's got Havertz and Saka, who are the key men for Arsenal. Diaz, who's an absolute phenomenal player, who again is one of the key men for Liverpool. And he's got an incredible defence. So people like Nima, I'm not suggesting he's crying into his milk, because he won't be. He will be like dejected, I bet. Just don't look at FPL. Don't consume FPL content. Just concentrate on your own channel in the Locked Up FPL, and then just move on into Game Week 7. It's the same for Roberto. He's got a similar team to this. It's just a simple case of just try and block out Palmer. Try and block out Palmer and Salah. Just block them out and just accept the fact that this week's been a complete anomaly. Because let's just quickly crack on with the results, Ray. Because, in fact, let's just start off with your game, Ray, to be completely frank. If you want to just talk us through Arsenal winning 4-2 and just all your emotions that were happening throughout today, basically, specifically regarding, obviously, our Man City drawing 1-1 and then you lot, well, 2-2 until the 90th minute or whatever.
Yeah, so in regards to, we'll start with the Arsenal game. It was a weird one for me because last weekend it was kind of my birthday weekend. So we take the kids swimming on Saturday for their lessons. So today was a double lesson, and it's very rare Arsenal have 3 p.m. games now. So their lesson was from 3:30 to 4:30. So what happened is when we left, it's quite close to us, so we just walked. I was listening to it on my AirPod as we were walking to the hotel, and then when we sat down, Arsenal went 1-0 up. And then when the kids were swimming, I said to my miss, I'm like, look, I'm going to go up and I'm going to watch the game on my phone. So I watched the game and we went 2-0 up. And in the first half, we were absolutely fantastic. Like, the pressing was just brilliant. And we were creating such great openings. The movement was fantastic. The goalkeeper was having a good game. But I think it wasn't so much we were wasteful, but the opportunities to create something were kind of missing. I think the urgency wasn't quite there. But we were 2-0 up and absolutely cruising. Went back down to basically, watch the kids swim a bit more, and then came back up for another 15 minutes before helping to change my son. But anyway, and then they got the goal pretty much start the second half. And then from that moment to minute 65, we were awful. And I think it was petulance, a bit of arrogance, and Leicester deservedly got the equaliser, Steve. Like you said, Justin's goal was absolutely fantastic. I couldn't believe it. And then after that, for the next 5-10 minutes, Leicester were actually trying to get a third goal. Yeah, they were actually pressing quite a bit. We were pressing. And then eventually, Cooper did what he would normally do, I think, is just sit back. But we were creating so many opportunities. And their goalkeeper, I think, Hermanson or something like that, was absolutely brilliant. He was making so many good saves. We hit the post as well. And then finally, after just knocking on the door, a corner comes in. And the coolest player that you'd want on the ball at that point, he didn't snatch at it, Steve. All he did was feed it back across goal on the volley, hits Ndidi and goes in. Overall, we absolutely deserved the win. However, we got away with one because during minute 45 to 65, we were, I think we were a little bit arrogant in the way that we kind of approached the second half, and we dodged a bullet. So I hope we just learn from this, because when we were 2-0 up, we were brilliant. We were actually playing some beautiful football. And then from minute 70 to 90, we were just creating opportunity after opportunity, but we should have never put ourselves in there. So delighted that we won, but very frustrated on how we acted after we went 2-0 up. And I thought we didn't do this anymore. I thought, like, we're 2-0 up. We're going to see out the game. We're just going to put in a professional performance. But we really did just kind of switch off altogether. However, good win. And I posted about it the other day. I said Trossard's going to get a lot of minutes now. So if there's a player you could look to bring in, maybe bring him in. And once again, he's such a good finisher. He really is. So, yeah. And the funny thing is that it was ridiculous. I was walking and watching, and my kids are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Look, it's Arsenal." Came home, and it was still 2-2, Steve-O. Put on my VPN and everything like that and watched all of stoppage time. So when we actually went 3-2 up, I was at home screaming, shouting, effing, blinding, everything like that. And then when we went 4-2, I was like, all right, now we can finally relax.
Yeah, I can genuinely imagine, especially when you've got PSG up next and you're thinking, right, we've got to try and get the best result we can against one of the, I wouldn't say one of the better teams in Europe, because they're not, but they're certainly, the money they've spent. I'm not going to profess to be a PSG. I barely know anything about Burnley, let alone PSG. But certainly, you wanted to be going into that game with a positive result and coming away with a 4-2 win. I'm sure, like you just said, that you kind of wish that you could have taken off the likes of Saka, Havertz, and some of your key performers before, after, being 2-0 up, like you said, and you just controlling the game, finish the game 2-0, done. Let's just move on to PSG. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But you did come away with a 4-2, and I'm just going to quickly go for the comments. And make sure right now that you are hitting the like button, and make sure you are subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. But make sure you are hitting the like button. It always does help boost the stream and get more people to know about the channel. Just a few points of view here from Alexander Bryan saying, so many people transferred Palmer out for Diaz this week. Very, very unlucky decision. Could have gone either way, to be fair. Yeah, again, the thing with fantasy football is that it's just a betting game at the end of the day. We cannot predict the outcomes. People, unfortunately, now are so obsessed with this AI nonsense. For instance, Mark Southerns was talking on Black Box how the FPL review, nothing against it, but the AI is telling them that still do not go out without Haaland. Go without Haaland. You're probably going to be better off, and yet they're not. I'm sure there's some teams out there that are against the anomaly here, but really, you want to be going with Haaland. That's the truth of the matter, and people are so desperate to learn what the AI is saying rather than making their own personal decisions. And truth be told, Diaz is on a hot streak of form at the moment, and they're playing Wolves away, which was, the history suggested, a tough fixture. It ended up being a tough fixture. There was only goal in it, just like the history said, whereas Chelsea versus Brighton, guess what, has always got goals in it, Ray. And what happened today? Goals, goals, goals. So if you're kind of using history as an example of what do I expect the outcome to be, you're probably going to back Palmer more than you are going to be Brighton. EA loves money saying best striker for 5.7. I don't even think there are any strikers for 5.7 in the game that are worth bringing in, to be honest with you. Is Ray worth bringing in, Ray? I know you've already answered it, but for people listening in, is he worth bringing in?
Yeah, absolutely.
When City employs a back four like they did today, Mahit is saying you can see how far forward Vardiol gets. Yep, and I know Paulie has especially made the most of Vardiol today, but thank God for me, it meant that Konate came through as well, so it blocked off Paulie's points there. Don't get the obsession with Calvert-Lewin. Dan is saying he plays for Everton, just like McNeil. He's going to play every single minute of every single game for Everton. He's the key striker for them, and he's got some really good fixtures. Everton have got some excellent fixtures that Sean Dyche will be really, really enjoying at the moment. FPL Bailey saying not a good week to have a bad week. I think you find that not a good week to have a bad week. I would say it's been a good week. I don't actually. Do you understand what that means, Ray?
No.
There we are, done. That's all you need to say. No. Good evening, Ash is here. Jason isn't here to slag you off, Ash, so I'll do it for him. How are you getting on today, Ray? Ash, let us know. We know you've got a secret. Oh, how's your FPL team? We know you've got a secret one. He's saying. Yeah, it's my team, isn't it?
This is actually my consultancy team, and Steve has just used his login. But yeah, I mean, look. Hate aside of Calvert-Lewin, because I just don't rate him. I think he's a crap player, and he's, like I said a few weeks ago, he's my biggest troll ever in FPL. And I showed you a picture of him in his skirt as well, and I'm just like, yeah, just not a fan. But you attack fixtures on paper, Everton's fixtures are phenomenal. And when I was looking at the heat maps of Calvert-Lewin, he was in a lot of good positions as well. And you're quite right, he assisted Decore brilliantly, and then Decore kind of, messed around a bit too long and then was eventually intercepted. Calvert-Lewin, if he stays fit, he will get, in the next 4 games, definitely 2 goals in my opinion.
Yeah, their fixtures are really, like I said, they're really, really good. And Sean Dyche does this. I've seen it all the time as a Burnley supporter, and I'm going to see it now as an Everton fan. They've got Newcastle at home next. Not the greatest of fixtures, but then again, Newcastle aren't exactly great this year so far. So, to be honest, I don't think Everton have got anything to fear about. Then it's the international break. Then it's away at Ipswich. 1-1. But then it's Fulham at home, where it probably ends up 0-0. Southampton, West Ham, then Brentford. These are really, really good fixtures, which Sean Dyche will target and make sure that he loves. In fact, talking of 5.7 strikers, I was thinking Cunha, possibly. Not for me, but certainly if you are looking at a particular team who may have some cheap strikers, it could be Wolves, but I think he's a bit overpriced. So Cunha is, he's 6.5, unfortunately.
Steve, if I could, I mean, I'm just thinking, I mean, I'd probably just go for a 4.5 striker and then just try and load up more in the midfield, or another option with a defender, because if you look lower than Calvert-Lewin, I don't think there's any
Vardy?
really. Not in my opinion. I mean, today he was hardly. He's playing, one of the top 2-3 teams in the league. But yeah, I just think someone like a Gabriel will score more points than Vardy. Does that make sense? So,
well, as in Gabriel is in Arsenal.
Yeah, or Saliba rather than Vardy. So I'd rather go 4-4-2 than a 3-4-3 that has Vardy.
Don't validate Jason's decision making of having a non-playing striker. Vardy, Leicester have got Bournemouth, Southampton, Nottingham Forest, Ipswich next.
Okay.
They could be absolute gold for someone like Vardy. But what you're saying here is you'd rather back an expensive defender ahead of, an expensive defender ahead of Vardy, basically. No, I completely agree. That makes complete sense and logic. As we kind of come towards the end of this stream, it's been a great chat. What I will say is, any shock results from today's fixtures, Ray? Anything that stands out to you where you went, oh, I didn't see that coming?
Yeah, funnily enough, the Forest and Fulham game, I backed a Forest 2-1 actually, because Nuno sets up the team really well, like he does. Defensively, he's a phenomenal coach.
Just to interject, Jimenez, I think, is 5.5, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got that spot now. So, well, at the moment anyway. But it was a penalty, but still, he had a top game from what I saw with the highlights. But yeah, I kind of saw maybe Forest taking that win as well. And I, even though Branthwaite played, I was so sure Palace were going to get the win, because I just thought, look, eventually it's going to all kind of come up Millhouse. They took the lead. I watched a few of the highlights as well during half time. But then Everton turned it around, didn't they? With McNeil was fantastic. Did you see the goals? Did you see McNeil's equaliser?
Yeah, that first goal. Yeah,
top draw, just absolutely top draw, and he took his second goal brilliantly as well. But otherwise, no. I mean, because with Newcastle and Man City, okay, for safety on Super Brew and Sleeper, I like the Sleeper prediction leagues. I do that with some friends and family. It's great fun. And I really want to go for a draw, but I kind of want to protect myself top of the leaderboard, which I am at the moment. But when it was a 1-1, I was not shocked, because Newcastle went back to what they usually do at home against top teams: high intensity, high energy. And I thought it was an excellent game. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the game, as much as I was getting stressed out. But no, what about yourself? Sorry, I kind of hogged that conversation.
No, don't apologise. I don't think, honestly, the only real surprises for me was you conceding 2 goals against Leicester. I am not surprised by any result whatsoever here. Maybe Liverpool not scoring as many goals against Wolves as a lot of people. I mean, people are thinking 3. I mean, I predicted 3-1. People are thinking 4-1. Everton winning, not surprised at all. Crystal Palace form of late has been absolutely atrocious. And I'm glad Eze has been very, very quiet. Now, I think people are just going to be selling him. They're getting him gone. Even Newcastle drawing with Man City, is it a shock result? Not really.
No.
Brentford at home to West Ham again. Is it a shot? It's more the fact that West Ham are another team. I mean, the goal was so scrappy, Ray. I mean, it was pathetic, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, if you got the right players there at the right time, they're going to put the ball in the back of the net. Chelsea winning in a high-scoring game doesn't surprise me. I had Nottingham Forest versus Fulham in a very low-scoring game. I was expecting 0-0, 1-1 or 1-0 either way, but mainly in Nottingham Forest's favour. I think that result, Ray, for me, tells me more about Fulham. The fact that they have now got an established team where they want to be pushing up the table. I think personally, anybody with Fulham assets, whether it's Smith Rowe, whether it's Robinson, whether it's Jimenez, you just stick with them, Ray.
I've got both. I've got Robinson and Smith Rowe in TFF, and I have no plans on letting either of them go. And it relates to FPL. Brilliant value. Play every single game. You know, Robinson's not only a good defensive asset in regards to, you know, actually defending, but offensively as well. He gets in great positions, and, you know, with wildcards, or people looking to wildcard, or people looking to take out Trent to build more, you know, a stronger team going forward. I think someone like Anthony Robinson's a great shout, because once again, you don't mind benching these players, isn't it? That's the caveat I always say. You know, you don't mind benching 4.5. Same with Smith Rowe as well. And when I built the wildcard for my cousin, is I was really tempted to put in Smith Rowe, but then I was kind of like, look, Semenyo is better going forward because the fixtures are so good overall. But yeah, no, I totally agree. And on Fulham as well, I'm so happy for the manager. I'm a big fan of his as well. Is that, you know, going forward, they play awesome football. They're getting the results. I thought they'd beat Newcastle last week. And yeah, they could be a shout in regards to, you know, top 10. And I hope they are, because I've always been a fan of Fulham.
So I always do this. I always look at the moderator league, who don't exist. And I always look at the table.
What is that?
And I go, right then, they've got a high quality of decent managers in that particular league. And what players have they got left? So I've now moved up to second. So Dread FPL has got, these are differentials on me, Semenyo left. And I expect Semenyo to come through with a couple of a minimum of an attack and return against Southampton. Firetog, nothing. You then have Blonde, who has... You then have Blonde, who has, if this stupid mouse would actually work, even though I don't have a mouse, it's just a laptop. She has Konza, Fernandez, differentials. Now that is Fernandez versus Tottenham. Is that could be massive. I expect him to get a return versus them the way they are. Paulie, he has got on me Van der Ven of Tottenham, and that's it. He had Vardy today playing. But the key one is Dan. Dan did his wild card today, and he had Flecken in goal, Lewis, Trent, Gabriel. In fact, do you know what's interesting about this team, Ray? Is that his team is identical to Nima. Do you reckon Dan is both? You're all Arsenal fans, the lot of you. You got you, Dan, and Nima, all Arsenal fans, and Dan's got the exact same team as Nima. Do you think there's a bit of copying going on here?
I think it's just a complete coincidence, because we're all Arsenal as well. You know, we all think alike.
You all think alike. You've got the triple up in. Well, he's got the triple up in. What do you call it? It is Havertz, Saka, and Gabriel. He got 36 points today, Dan, and yeah, it's exactly the same team as Nima. And then Jason's team, who he still got, he did a -8 if people remember, and he brought in Gabriel. He brought in. Do you know what? I can't even remember his transfers. Ray, what did Jason do? He did Gabriel in and Rodgers.
Oh, yeah,
and he also got rid of someone else to make sure it's a 3-5-2, wasn't it? But he still got Rashford.
No, Jason's. It's like a skit now. You know what I mean? It's a bit like every time you guys go on stream, it's like, what's he gonna do today? So you know, I can't even keep up with that guy.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a stinker today. Henderson in goal, 1 point. Gabriel. But he's still got Maserati and Rashford. He had Lewis, Saka, Diaz, Salah, Rodgers tomorrow, Welbeck and Haaland captain. And yeah, it's really come down to this week.
One return.
Yeah, and
You'd love to see it.
Well, Dan's saying here that Rashford, that's Dan, not my Dan, but other Dan. He reckons Rashford's going to save them. You're joking, but the truth of the matter is that Rashford could potentially have a field day tomorrow against Tottenham. What are you predicting for that game, Ray?
I went 2-1 Man United. I'm actually very confident they'll win the game.
Yeah, I've got it as a high scoring 3-2. I think it's just going to be end to end. I'm hoping, for my sake, from a rivalry point of view, that Rashford doesn't play, and I'm hoping Garnacho actually, does all right. And
I think Garnacho will play on the right, Rashford will play on the left, and Xerxes will play up front. That's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah. So
I think Diallo will be on the bench for this game.
Right. Yeah. Is Rashford even going to start? FPL Bailey's saying, well, this is exactly the thing. Is he going to start? Who knows? But yeah, I think that comes to a natural conclusion to the stream. Like I say, my transfers, I'm going to be pretty much doing it, straight after the stream, pretty much. It will be Saliba, Haaland, and dibbling in for Salah, Trent, and Pedro. And it means that I've got Haaland for next week as a -4. And yeah, you like those. You do like those moves, don't you, Ray?
Absolutely, because I've got I always look at your transfers as well on a planner, and I love it because when you look at the fixtures next week, I mean, every team has basically got a good every player has got a good fixture. I mean, on paper, the weakest fixture is probably Konate away to Crystal Palace, but is that really a weak fixture? I don't think so. And then going forward, you can actually start to roll your transfers, isn't it? You don't have to make transfers for a few weeks.
That is something I was thinking of, the fact that I can just stick with this team for at least 2 weeks to have 2 free transfers for game week 10 or something, and then look at how Foden is fitting in with Man City if Foden starts to play, and bringing him in for Palmer, potentially. But it's something that we discussed with Nima, but unfortunately Foden is just being given this rest, which is deserved. And at the moment, Palmer's on fire. In fact, Palmer could have got a double last week as well if Jason's Madueke had just passed him the ball. Ray, is there anything else you want to mention before we go off?
Yeah, I mean, the Super Brew's been great fun. I'm only 0.5 off you now. I keep thinking, I'm gonna top you, and then I'm like, brother, yeah, I'm still behind. So I was 2 weeks ago. So we got 55 teams. 2 weeks ago, I was 51st.
55 teams.
And now I'm 20th. So yeah, I'm going up. Yeah, 55.
That's that's a lot of teams. That's a lot more than last season. I think the guy that you want to be looking out for is Lino, Firetog, and Andrew Ferguson. Genuinely, those three are very, very, very good at every single season. They always do really well. They're the three that you want to.
Lino's 4th at the moment.
4th now.
Yeah, he's. Yeah. I'm just, you're my next target. Then we'll look after that. But otherwise, no, not at all. If I was gonna. Again, with all the planning, people like Roberto, Nima, yourself, anyone, I think just stick to the plan that you're going for with your initial wildcard, because guess what? When we look at those wildcards, when we're looking at Nima's as well, there are points galore that are going to happen in the next 2-3 game weeks that you don't have, for example, Sivo. So, just stick to it. Don't worry about the knee-jerk and stuff like that. Palmer was brilliant, I understand that, but he's got Forest, then Liverpool, then Newcastle, then Man United. Those fixtures... Not all of them is he going to absolutely return like that. So, but otherwise, as always, Steve-O, pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. And this is going to be it for anybody that knows. This is a regular thing every single Saturday, give or take. Myself and Ray we'll be covering all the football that happened on the day. Join myself and Jason tomorrow for Sunday Surgery, so another stream, another one talking absolute twaddle about whatever, and obviously hopefully getting some of you guys on to talk through your teams, the problems that you've got, etc, etc. Then of course we've got the Game Week 6 preview. I'm still searching for a guest. Unfortunately, a couple of people have unfortunately turned us down, but that's through obvious reasons, because they're very, very busy at the moment with various things. And so I've got a guest in mind, Ray. I'll let you know privately who that guest is. Hopefully that individual will be able to join us instead. But every single Wednesday/Thursday, myself and Jason will be joined by one of the FPL community, and we'll be previewing the upcoming game week. You can follow us on X, which will be live. We go live on X whenever Jason's hosting, so that's going to be Sunday Surgery or the Game Week Preview. So you can follow us on X, which is at Elite FPL. Just all I can say is just make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're hitting the like button when we're live, and making sure you're hitting the like button when you leave. Also, make sure that you are commenting on the video afterwards. Just give us your thoughts on the stream, how you got on, etc, etc. Again, it just helps towards pushing the video, promoting the video, all that absolute nonsense. Other than that, I have absolutely nothing else to say other than congratulations to everyone that's had a decent game week today. Bring on tomorrow, and hopefully Watkins can come through, and maybe even Rodgers again, but I think we already saw their points last week. Cheers, Ray.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.